UFO. 6 whistleblowers who claim they worked on military UFO programs retrieving and analyzing crash material have come forward to spill their secrets to senior members of Congress. This is huge. So this is a new article that just broke. This is breaking news. So let's dive right in. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media. That would be super helpful. There's also Facebook and Twitter links below. I would love to see you guys there, so consider joining me there. And of course, leave your comments in the comment sections below. So this is a new article from the Daily Mail. Let's just get right into it. Senior members of Congress have spoken to as many as 6 whistleblowers who claim they worked on Roswell-style UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs, according to a top attorney, a leading Stafford scientist, and ex-UFO program officials. For decades, it has been the subject of spooky TV shows, blah, 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 blah. Okay, 2023 National Defense Authorization. Okay, there we go. I'm reading this for the first time, so bear with me. In an exclusive interview, Danny Sheehan, and that's, of course, Lou Elizondo's lawyer and who has been in the UFO game for a while, said he is in contact with at least 6 former government officials or military contractors who say they worked on just such a program, this reverse engineering program, crash retrieval program. Sheehan represents Lou Elizondo, who ran a previous incarnation of the UFO office called ATIP. Sheehan said some of these half-dozen whistleblowers briefed the staff of Senate committees dealing with military intelligence even before the NDAA passed, which signed ARROW into law, and may even have been the inspiration for senators to include the reverse engineering language. There are half a dozen of them that have already gone and talked to them. The Senate staff people were reaching out to some others. Sheehan says witnesses who allegedly know about Roswell-style programs, including a former Defense Intelligence Agency director, have been referred for interviews with the Pentagon's UFO office, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW. A top Stanford scientist, I presume that's Gary Nolan, says he is also in touch with whistleblowers. Immunologist and Nobel Prize nominee Dr. Gary Nolan, was commissioned by the CIA to investigate cases of the mysterious Havana syndrome afflicting embassy officials worldwide, and has conducted experiments analyzing material allegedly jettisoned in UFO flyovers. A little bit of a lazy tongue there. He claims to be in contact with several former staffers of extraordinary UFO reverse engineering programs. All right, so Gary Nolan is in touch with UFO reverse engineering programs. Very interesting. That's former staffers, so that's significant, but very, very intriguing. I have good reason to trust a number of individuals who were actually part of the reverse engineering or very close to the reverse engineering programs, or who have testified to the fact recently, Gary Nolan says. When you testify, you're under oath. So these people are putting their careers at risk for breaking one oath of secrecy and taking another. ARROW director, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, may have hinted that his office has indeed interviewed whistleblowers in testimony to Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Congress has mandated that your office establish a discoverable and accessible electronic method for potential witnesses of U.A.P. incidents and potential participants in government U.A.P.-related activities to contact your office to tell their stories, Gillibrand said to Kirkpatrick. Congress also set up a process whereby people who are subject to non-disclosure agreements preventing them from disclosing what they may have witnessed or participated in could tell you what they know without risk of retribution from the violation of their NDAs. And if you can hear the lawnmower behind me, I apologize. The lawn guy is evidently here. When do you expect that you will establish a public-facing discoverable access portal for people to use to contact your office as the law requires? Gillibrand asked Kirkpatrick. Thank you all very much for referring the witnesses that you have thus far to us. I appreciate that. We've brought in nearly 24 so far, so 24 witnesses. Of course, Kirkpatrick had to complain about that and ask Gillibrand and others to prioritize who they sent him, because apparently they were wasting his time talking about UFOs shutting off nuclear reactors and the like. Yeah, that was a little dig that Kirkpatrick put in there. Apparently he did not like some of the whistleblowers. Blah, blah, blah. He says, Arrow has found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics. And of course, I've talked a lot about that. Kirkpatrick was lying there when he said they have no evidence of objects that defy the known laws of physics. Just looking at the publicly available information, such as the gimbal video, which clearly shows an anomalous object flying with no visible means of propulsion, rotating on its axis. That's just one example of things that are in the public purview that we know that Sean Kirkpatrick has, clearly demonstrating that he is lying here when he says we don't have any evidence that they defy the known laws of physics. And that's just one thing that's in the public purview. Imagine what he actually has that he inherited from ATIP and the like, and that they have gathered since then. So he is clearly lying there, and, he lied in the U.A.P. report as well. So it's no big surprise. That's evidently his role, working with the control group or whoever, is to spread disinformation and to tamp down interest on the U.A.P. topic and obfuscate what information there is. So, and I don't hold that against him. He's doing his job. He is part of the machine, and that is what the machine does. Is it wants to control this topic for whatever reason. And the control group. I always leave my mind open to the possibility that the control group has virtuous motives. And, it's always possible that they think they're doing the right thing, and they probably do think that anyway. Whether they are correct or not, I don't know. That's why this needs to be brought out into the light, because we can't really trust, that they are doing the right thing. Another Nobel Prize nominee and CIA scientist, Dr. Hal Puthoff, who worked in the government's UFO program OSAP, told Daily Mail that he had briefed Congress on classified information about reverse engineering programs and knew of whistleblowers who had worked in the alleged programs. I don't consider myself secretly coming out of the shadows the way whistleblowers may, he said. I can just speak to what I learned in congressional-supported programs that they paid for. We were specifically tasked with collecting whatever evidence we could collect from military individuals and contractors as to the reality of what evidence there is. Puthoff said he knew some military contractors or officials who worked on reverse engineering programs. So Puthoff and Gary Nolan are saying that. Very interesting. And those people are now coming forward to Arrow after the new whistleblower protection was added. The ones I know of felt it was their responsibility to tell what they knew, and they were not reticent, Dr. Hal Puthoff said. Certain people in that category would fall into the whistleblower regime. I can't comment in detail, a former CIA laser scientist added. So, yeah, these are all things apparently that have been brought before Congress and presumably to Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. And yet he still maintains an air of ignorance and none of this stuff is real. None of it's anomalous. He actually did use the word anomalous. So I want to clarify that. But he did use the word, he did point blank say that none of these objects defied the known laws of physics. And I do take issue with that. That was clearly a lie, just like everything in the U.A.P. report. I don't take issue with him saying there's no evidence of extraterrestrial activity, because that would presume that we know what the phenomenon is and where it comes from. Could be ultra-terrestrials, could be extra-dimensionals, whatever. But clearly him saying that was a dodge. So, it may or may not be technically true. Yeah. A Defense Department spokeswoman told DailyMail.com that they have not yet found any UFO programs that were improperly kept from Congress, but they haven't finished their search. In addition to AARO's principal mission to address current operations regarding UAP, AARO is also conducting a historical review of the U.S. government's identification and resolution of UAP difficulties, including speaking to witnesses for authorized disclosures as prescribed by law, said Susan Go. Susan Go is also part of the machine, but whatever. While there have been nearly 24 people that AARO has interviewed, confidentially and securely, AARO has not finished its collection data or its analysis. As prescribed by law, AARO has 72 hours to report to Congress any program discovered that has not been properly reported for appropriate oversight. None have been found so far. Shocking. Anyway, it goes on. I'm not going to read the whole article. I've read more than I intended to, but you can see that there are whistleblowers coming forward to Congress actually talking about UFO crash retrieval programs. So, if this is true, and I believe it is, why did not Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and Senator Ernst ask any of these questions to Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick? And they even seemed to egg him on when he talked about turning UAP into someone else's problem. Senator Ernst even laughed at that joke. So they didn't ask him any tough questions. They softballed him the whole way. They didn't ask him any questions about these whistleblowers that we know have come forward. And they even seemed to enable him and encourage him when he talked about making these someone else's problem, as if the whole point of AARO wasn't to study this. He even said at one point, if they did find evidence of aliens, they would refer that to NASA. So, as if the whole point of AARO wasn't to handle precisely this. Anyway, so I'll let you read the whole article on its own. It's very interesting, and I will finish reading it on my own. But I wanted to share this with you that there is reliable information coming from people like Dr. Hal Puthoff and Dr. Gary Nolan and Danny Sheehan that indeed whistleblowers are coming forward behind the scenes to Congress talking about some really juicy stuff. James Fox also alluded to this, saying that if you had the right credentials, you could even be taken to the labs where they are reverse engineering this technology. So this is going on right now in Washington, D.C., and they are not talking about it in the UAP hearing. Why? Why are they not talking about this? Why are they not disclosing this to the public? Why are they, in fact, lying? Because I could kind of understand stonewalling. If they were just not going to give us anything, then that's how it's always been. But in fact, they didn't just stonewall, they backpedaled. They actually pretended things that we know to be true are not true. That there was no anomalous activity, that there was no, there were no objects defying the known laws of physics. That was clearly a lie, a very deliberate lie with purpose behind it. And that purpose, of course, was to obfuscate the truth and to mislead the public and to misrepresent the phenomenon. So, I am reminded again of Representative Tim Burchett saying that members of Congress had been compromised on this issue. I sincerely hope he was wrong about that and that that's not true. But judging by the questions that they asked Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick in the hearing, I am persuaded to think that there may be something there. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. That'd be awesome. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I would love to see you guys there. And in the meantime, check out some of my other videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.